Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hidden World of Women podcast, brought to you by Women's Health and Wellbeing Services. My name is Melanie. I'm hosting the podcast again, and today I have another fantastic woman who's been generous enough to come along and share her story. Her name is Kate, and she is an actress and a photographer. She's the director of a photography studio called Verge Studios. So she's kindly just agreed to come on board today to talk about all things women and their bodies and being under the lens, I suppose, and also a bit about her journey and how she came to be in this field and what her kind of speciality is around in photography. Blah. So welcome, Kate. I just kind of stuffed that up a bit.
It's all good. Yeah. I'm sure I will.
Good, because we're just human at the end of the day.
That's it. That's right.
So you have your own studio?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's been running about 11 years now. Yeah, 2009. So.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Awesome. And it's 2020 for anyone, right at the end of 2020 for anyone who's listening, because this probably won't come out till 2021. Come to think of it.
Yes.
So how did you start, or what's your journey to where you are now, your background?
It's a bit of a long one.
Go for it.
So straight from leaving school, my mum was a beauty queen and a hairdresser and whatever, and she decided that she was going to enter me into such things. Much to my disgust, but you know,
really?
being young, you sort of do as your mom tells you to do.
Yeah. Why did that not appeal to you? It's kind of interesting. So I guess I'm generalising that sometimes a lot of girls are like, yes, I want to be.
No, I was a complete tomboy.
Oh, really?
So I was in mud and horses and climbing trees and doing the whole pretty thing wasn't really part of me at that point.
Okay. But it's what your mum wanted. So.
But I did, yeah. And she's a very strong woman and in a very good way. So I was like, I did it. Put it like that. And one of the competitions, I ended up winning a place in quite a prestigious modelling academy in England.
Right.
And I did really well, and I modelled all around Europe for 12 years.
Yeah, right.
Really good.
So really a career. Quite a good
whole
career.
Yeah. And a busy one.
Yeah.
So it was, I have to say, it was a completely different life, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I originally wanted to be a vet. That went out of the window when I started to see the money coming in from them.
Well, fair enough.
I'm just
especially when
honest.
you're young. Yeah. No, honesty is good.
VIP cards to let your friends into places and so on. It was great.
And travel and that sounds
all
amazing.
Of that. It was fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, at age 27, actually, I'll track back there. At 27, I got pregnant, which was fantastic.
Yes.
But also the same year, I was diagnosed with stage 3 lymphoma.
Wow.
So literally overnight, because I was still actually modelling pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for,
awesome.
what were they called? Can't remember now. Mother Care.
The brand?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. With your pregnant tummy?
Yeah, with my pregnant tummy. And...
But you got hit with this diagnosis.
And that was it. Overnight, career gone.
Yeah.
So obviously had to have chemo and all of that for, I think, nearly 10 months. So lost all my hair.
Yeah.
Can I say no pubes? Nothing.
Hair gone.
Everything gone.
What was that like, to lose your hair? As someone who was, who made a living from her looks.
From the looks, yeah. Shocking.
Yeah.
But... at this point, I had my baby. He was born early, so he was 6.5 weeks early.
Wow! On intentionally,
yeah.
They bought it. Yeah.
So I had to. He was my priority, basically.
Yeah.
So even though I lost my hair, and I think if I hadn't have had my son, it would have affected me a lot more.
Wow!
But because I now had another person to look after, my looks did go on the back burner.
Yep.
And losing the hair was just another part of it.
Wow.
All I wanted to do was get better.
Yep.
So that I could be around.
Yep.
So all went well with my treatment and everything, but they did tell me I couldn't have any more children. Hence, I never used any contraceptive.
Sure.
And there we go. Wham, bam. Pregnant again.
Was that?
And I was thrilled.
What's the age gap between?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
right.
So, the doctors or the specialists were saying to me, you can't have this baby. You must abort. Well,
really?
You know, being a strong woman, it's like you must. I don't think so. And a little bit of naivety as well. Was like, I can do this. I'm fine. I'm all good. I had her actually to the day. Yeah. So born on the predicted day.
Wow.
So that was all
full term.
Amazing. Yep. No problems whatsoever. Emigrated to Australia.
Right. Yeah.
My ex-husband was actually from Perth. So that's how I got here.
Yeah.
And then when my daughter was 18 months old, I went for my regular checks and I had a tumour in my right lung.
Wow.
And cut a long story short, because it's not about all of that, but cut a long story short, I ended up having to have more chemotherapy and at that point the very, very new stem cell transplant.
Right.
So I was given 3 years to live unless I had the transplant.
Right.
So
it's a bit of a no-brainer then, isn't it?
Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean, I did have a choice of more chemo, but the cocktail of chemotherapy has to change all the time and your body becomes immune and you're constantly having to do that. Yeah. But a lot of people opt for that because when you do the stem cell, you can die within 14 days.
Oh.
So it's a little, yeah. But again, I don't know, stubborn, naivety, I don't know, willpower, I don't know. But I went through with it and you know what? I'm here. Yes. It's 20 years later. I'm good as gold.
Wow. 20 years. I mean, I've heard that if you get past 5 years, then pretty good to, statistically speaking, then we could say that it's fully.
Well, they closed the book on me last year.
Oh, last year. Yeah. Oh, congratulations.
So I was like, yay.
Wow. That's a long time to keep it open though.
I know. But unfortunately, because of chemo, you do get other side effects and all that. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
I'm sure we could have another podcast episode about that.
But the thing is that having been through all of that, everything was all about my looks. My mum was very much, oh, you're so pretty, or you're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And bless her, she meant well. Yeah. But it did nothing for my inner confidence of who I was. Yeah. It was just sort of what I looked like. So when through all the cancer and everything, I lost my hair again for the second time. So when I went through all of that, I literally was stripped to nothing. Wow. So the bare Kate of, I had nothing. So I thought to myself, you know what? I am never going to let that happen to me again mentally. So I need to do something. I need to go back to college, college in England, which is, I guess, TAFE here, and study. So I did that and I studied media, makeup, special effects, and also photography. But I excelled in the photography due to probably the fact that I was a model and worked with hundreds of different photographers. Yeah. And lighting was my speciality when I was doing my exams. Yeah. So, I went with that and I thought, oh, yes, I love this. So when I was well enough and again, I lived here, I got a job with a renowned photography company and I was only with them for about 14 months, but in that first year when I entered all of their competition, their in-house competitions. Right, yes. I'm the only one ever apparently to win all of them. So that's like black and white, colour, special effects, all of that, and overall winner of. So I won them all. Bloody hell, so I was like, maybe I should take this a little further. So I opened up Verge in 2009. Right. And then obviously I, you immediately go into weddings and all different, the pets and all of it. So I can, commercial, so you can do it all. If you have the knowledge of photography, you can do it all. So, but I thought to myself in recent years, what do I love? What is it that I really love to shoot? And it's boudoir.
What's boudoir?
boudoir is French for bedroom, I believe. I
yes.
hope I've got that right.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar. I don't
know. And so basically it's sensual imagery, and it's not, everyone thinks, oh, it's naked and it's the fluffy boas,
like Dita Von Teese kind of thing.
It's not. There's so many different genres within boudoir. And if anybody ever went to my website, you would see I've categorized them because that's my speciality. It's not just boudoir. So you've got pin-up, which is like really colorful and fun, and a lot of the younger girls like that, and they look fantastic, all the colors and marvelous. And then you've got obviously your black and whites, and it could be, it literally could be anything. I try to get women to incorporate something that's about them. So some of them, I've had people bring guitars in, or their husband's guitar, or football, that their husbands, if they don't feel like they have much, right? I mean, maybe they knit and they don't want to bring that in or whatever. I think I could get a great shot with that, but it's up to them.
You have it over the boobs, knitting it.
I have actually done one.
I can see that working.
But yes, get them to bring something that's more personal to them or their life, and incorporate that in their shoot. Obviously there are the nude shoots, and a lot of that is to do with lighting. So it's quite well, it can go two ways. It can be really, really soft, or it can be really, really dramatic. There's sort of no in between with the nudity. It's like one or the other. Couples even, boudoir shoots, which is really, I mean, who wants a sexy photo with their man? Come on. Like, I know I do.
That'd be so much
It's
fun.
a bit difficult though. Like, I've got mine on timer. But yes, I think the whole boudoir, and then I broke it down for myself, in that I think it's because I was, like I said, stripped of what I looked like, and it was down to the core of me and making myself feel better about myself. And we're cruel to ourselves.
Oh God, yeah, especially women.
We're so cruel, and unfortunately, society, even though it's getting so much better, especially with the younger people of today, are so much better. I know my children, my son and my daughter, are very self-confident, and I have pushed that.
So important.
And I think a lot of my age group mothers, we're sort of in between, where our parents were completely different to, say, my children. So I'm sort of the in between, where society was changing, but still catwalk models were sticks. And, front covers of magazines were always, the perfect woman. Whereas now you do have magazines with normal
diversity,
people.
more range.
So I think it is changing, and it's awesome that
and more
that it's changing.
more like there's the what is it, like body acceptance, body positivity, but body neutrality movement and stuff as well, which I personally quite like. So there's like, as opposed to like body positivity, because for me, I'm like, I don't know how realistic that is, because sometimes you do have days where you're like, I kind of, but this neutral kind of stance towards, rather than extremes of real self-hatred, and this kind of maybe hyper-inflated, I'm so amazing no matter what, this kind of more neutral, but so much, you just have to hop on Instagram and stuff like that to see that. Although you do have to be careful, because they're, with the media, I don't know, consuming all that social media, sometimes that can be.
Definitely, it affects all of us.
I don't, unless you kind of don't go there,
but there's not a lot of us that don't.
I know, it's very seductive in a way.
It is. You just want more and more.
Taps into some part of our brain.
But you're right. There, you've got to be very careful, and check your rein a bit. Don't get swayed into. There's so many photos out there that I could tell people, well, that's totally airbrushed. Like, but unfortunately, people don't see that.
And they compare themselves, and this is where the problem.
It's not real.
It's
not real.
Even, I suppose, even you looking at a photo of yourself in your modelling days, you'd be like, I know that I had a whole team behind me making sure I looked...
Yes, perfect lighting, all the rest of it. And
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying about photos. We can all... I mean, who hasn't had a photo at a party where you look dreadful?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you can have your hair done and your makeup done and wearing your favourite dress, but someone with a snap can just...
crush
take it.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, I'm not wearing that again.
Yeah.
Or
everything's
wrong. Well, it's not the case. And also still photography is that moment in time. So when you're fluid in your movements and talking to people when you're out and about, people don't see that snap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't be so hard on yourself when you see... Yeah, especially
one moment.
Yeah, when a friend, I always come back to birthdays and people put stuff up on Facebook. They always want to, like, for some reason, put the worst photo they can find that you ever had done. And you just go, oh, please.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. But I think we all deserve to have a beautiful photo of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I know that most partners would like it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And... you know, there's no mistaking lighting and angles will bring out the best of you. It's not making you into something you're not. That is what you look like with the right light on you, not some horrible strobe light or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've just got to be in the right environment. Yeah. And obviously have the correct photographer behind the lens to bring out the best in you.
That must be an art form for photographers.
I love
to
it.
sort of try and...
God, I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you help a woman be sort of feel, I guess, safe and comfortable and be able to kind of express what needs to come through the camera? How do you do that? What
obviously, I get to know them beforehand on the phone. Yeah. And, you know, I send them information, tips on sort of what to do beforehand and what to look at, and I welcome any images that they have that they love and would like to be like. That's because that gives me a really good sort of base to start from. If people aren't very good at explaining what they want, bring a photo. Like or a cutout from a magazine.
Yes.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. It's just like going to the hairdresser and you've got
and you go, I want my hair like that.
And they're like, you've got to be kidding. But it gives them an idea.
Yes. You can work around it.
Sure.
And, you know, whether you're, it makes no difference what size you are. If you, if you are comfortable with who you are, and that's my job to start with, to make them comfortable. So obviously they have their hair and makeup done. It's all within the packages that I do. Because that hour that they're there, we talk, we break down barriers. You know, like we're talking now, obviously not with a microphone, but but we...
Be more intimidating with them.
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird. But we talk to them and we find out, when I say we, the makeup artist and myself and my stylist. So there's 3 of us that are there.
Oh, wow.
And we talk about, you know, what is it that they love about themselves? Well, I can guarantee you every woman will then say, I hate such and such. And so you have to stop them and go, no, that wasn't my question.
Wow.
My question is, what is it that you love about yourself? And they'll go, oh. And that's so sad.
It's very sad. I'm not surprised, though.
Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't matter what size they are.
Wow. So even a thin woman is still going to...
They're still doing... In fact, they're worse.
Pretty cool.
They're harder on themselves.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So then you sort of go, well, okay, what does your husband love or your partner love
that's a good...
in you?
Yes.
And then they'll say, oh, you know, they like my bum or my boobs or my eyes or whatever. Yeah. And then I'll go from there. And
kind
then
of build
I'll go,
on that.
Yeah. And then we just build from that. And we, oh, well, don't you agree? You know, and so try and getting from them what they really, really love and what, then that helps me when we would then go into the studio. I know that I need to feature these these parts that are important. And that is done through whatever they bring with them to wear or not to wear. Fabrics to hide places that we don't want to see. And obviously, like I said, lighting. Mood with music. They can bring their own music.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Get you in
so
the
it's a
mood.
whole
experience
that goes on. And most of the shoots, I think, they at least are an hour and a half, which sounds like a really long time, but it goes so fast.
Yeah. Why do women come and get photos of themselves? Like, what are some of the reasons that you've heard, particularly the boudoir ones, which, you know, I guess can be as sensual as they want, you know, on a range there. You were sort of saying from nudity to something more playful and stuff like that. But what are the reasons some of the women give you for wanting to do that?
The playful ones are more the younger people, like I said. You know, and they're very self-confident these days, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Can I just say that there is a big difference between being confident and being cocky.
Oh, right.
So it's about you know, your aura, your energy. You know, you can be wearing exactly the same thing, looking exactly the same, but your attitude is what changes it from confident to cocky, or vice versa.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yes, but I think there's a lot of confident girls, and I think they're doing a tremendous job. So, go you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for the older, we're not old, but the older generation, I'd hate to think that I'm 50. I thought I was 51, I said the other day, but I'm not. I'm 52. Oh my goodness. But I still feel young.
Yeah.
No, I still feel really young. Yeah. And the days that we don't feel so good about ourselves, if we just, you know, I know for myself, if I just do my hair, or I put a little bit of makeup on, I feel so much better.
Or just, I find too, putting on something which I know is really flattering, and then I put on, I'm like, I look really nice in this. I'm like, damn it, I should do this.
Yes.
I should wear this more often, or put on my eyeliner or whatever. Just these little things actually can make
a big difference. Big difference.
But it's funny, I think, when you're your own kind of worst enemy, you can make that so much worse by not wearing, and by wearing things perhaps that are, I don't know, hide everything, and then you feel even bigger or even more, and you just kind of dig yourself into a bit of a hole. You're like, why I can't be bothered because I've gained weight or something like that.
Yes.
Whereas there's still a lot that can be done, I think, to not go down that hole.
Yes, actually, I'm talking about putting weight on or off. Sorry, because I did sidetrack from your question.
Oh, that's fine. No,
I told
you where it goes.
We'd go down different lanes. But yes, a lot of women that have lost weight.
We'll go and do it.
Yes, will come because they've found themselves. You know, it's all about finding yourself again. I mean, if you think about it, when you reach 40, 50, you know, you may have had a couple of kids or one kid, or even not, but your body changes. Whether you've had children or not, it changes. And you have to go with that transformation, you know, and your hair is probably different. Your skin's definitely different. I know my skin is completely changed. Much more freckly thanks to the sun.
That's Australia for you, I'm afraid.
Yeah. And, you know, and gravity is not great. But it's important to, you know, sit with that and just go, you know what, I was 20 and those 20-year-olds will one day be 40. So we all go through it. We're not alone. Every single woman that is lucky enough to live to a nice age.
Yeah, you know about that. It sounds like you kind of skirted to the edge there with your diagnosis.
So it's the alternative is not great. So you know, acknowledge the fact, okay, I'm going through a transformation. This is the new me. Okay, what can I do to better the new me? Maybe you do need to, you know, have a personal trainer for a month or something just to kickstart you.
Sure.
You know, or maybe it's just a simple change in diet or whatever it is. I know I've been through all of those things.
Yeah, so have I. Many times.
Yeah, and we do. It's just, and I think don't beat yourself up about. I never think of anything as failing. It might be a sidestep, but you never fail at anything.
Yeah, right. I've never
because
heard that
when
before.
you don't, because you're always learning from it.
And it's open to interpretation. How we look at things is very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't ever say I've failed at anything. Other people may think I have. Right. And that's fine.
Well, that's
they
their
can
opinion,
believe
isn't it?
exactly. They can believe what they want.
Yeah.
But I always think, no, there's a change, there's a transformation. That's not right for me anymore. And I think that's with the whole body image with ladies that come in. I've had a fair few that have had, unfortunately, mastectomies.
I wondered about that.
Through having breast cancer. And I mean, a lady comes to mind straight away who's absolutely full of life. And we did a whole range of photos. I think she was there for 2 hours. And she had the best time. And unfortunately, her cancer has come back. But she phoned me and she said, you know what, I want to get to some more of those photos. Wow. I don't want to redo it because she did it when she was clear, like she had been clear for 5 years. Oh. And she had a very aggressive type. And she's coping now. Like she's winning at the minute. So fingers crossed she'll do it again. And with science and everything, you know.
For sure.
Hope.
Absolutely. It's incredible.
But yes, it's really lovely that a lot of my clients are friends. Yeah. And she just rang me and she said, Kate, I'd really love to get some more of those images because that's a time that I really acknowledge that I achieved beating it and I need to positively do that again. So this is what she said to me, so I want those photos so that I can look at them and go, I can do that again.
Wow. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's all sorts of things, you know, so...
it's kind of like, sorry to interrupt, it's like her inspiring herself.
Yes.
It's not someone else or something else. She's using herself.
Yes.
Which sounds so much more powerful.
Yes. Yeah.
How clever.
Yeah. Very clever. Yeah. I was quite taken with that. I was just like, wow, my photo of her reaching her goals then, which was a few years back, is being reinvigorated to help her again.
Yes.
Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. I forget what I was going to say next.
Sorry, I should have cut you off. So you photograph women who've had surgeries and might have scars or be missing, you know, breasts and gosh knows what.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
And other women, it's come back now. This is what happens when you're 52. It's unfortunately, you know, people do fall out of love and, you know, husbands leave.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah. Or they leave their husband.
Or they do, indeed. And they themselves, you know, want to make a fresh start. So a lot of women, you know, completely dye their hair, go crazy.
Absolutely. Have like a whole makeover.
Yes.
Yep. That makes sense.
So then they also want to come in.
Yeah.
And I do believe some women even use it for dating. So
and why not?
Exactly.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And isn't that interesting? Because that's it's kind of like a life transition, but it's kind of doing something very symbolic and very physical, you know, getting photos of yourself to represent whether an age transition or illness transition or, breakup or kind of, you know, kids have left home. I don't know, millions of different things.
Yes.
But there's kind of very symbolic thing that a woman is choosing to do for herself and to put herself under the lens of a camera. You know, that's intense. I think that's very brave.
I think it's very scary for them.
Very scary.
And I can guarantee every single woman is scared that comes in.
Wow.
And even the confident ones are scared. And it's my job to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I do a good job, and
still going.
Yes, and I have a lot of clients, and they come back to me.
It's always a good sign.
But there is a story of a lady who, again, I can't mention anybody's names, but it took her 3 years to come to me.
Oh, bless.
3 years.
Oh, wow.
And then once she'd come to me, 5 shoots.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So she kept coming back.
She kept coming back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
But she, you know, she was up against herself, I imagine, her own fears and anxieties. And
she also told me that she thought, you know, what would I think of her?
Oh, isn't it interesting?
I was like, wow. Like, I genuinely, this is just me as a person. And I think that's why it's important to tell people what I've been through, because I think it stems from that, is that I genuinely want to make women feel good about themselves, and I look for the good in women. Everyone has a moody day.
Sure.
Everyone does.
Yep.
You know? And when you're married and you're going through menopause, believe me, there's more moody days.
Great.
So, but...
So looking forward to that.
Yay.
Not.
No. But underneath it, you know, we're not, no one's a bad person.
Yeah,
like,
of course,
we're all
of course.
hard on ourselves. We've got society telling us this, that, and the other. You know, whether we have supportive husbands or not, you know, obviously the supportive ones are excellent.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't have that.
Yeah.
And so everything's on our shoulders. And we've spent God knows how many years looking after children and forgotten about ourselves. And that's what I mean. Like the 40, 50 is a real important time where you get yourself back.
Yeah.
And
So
I've still going through, I think, what do they call it when your children leave home and you have that
they
separation?
live an empty nest.
Yeah, separation anxiety.
I'm dreading that. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I struggle.
Wow, yes.
More than anything.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I struggle with that the most.
There must be a lot of grief. I feel grief now in anticipation of that, you know.
Yeah, I'm still
my son's 16.
grieving.
I'm like, you can stay a bit longer, you know.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, I'm left with, what am I left with?
Yes.
You know, because mothering is just one role. If you are a mother, that's just one part of a woman's identity.
Yes.
What about the rest?
Yes, exactly.
Where is that? Who is she?
Yes.
You know?
And I think that having a lot of people I know have said to me, oh, I could never do that. And then they'll stand next to somebody. I was thinking of a party the other night, Christmas party that I was at, and one lady is a friend of mine who had a shoot, and she was talking to another lady, and you could totally see that the other lady was like, oh, this is not for me at all. And then my friend got her photos. She's so proud. She got them out. She's on her phone. So she's like showing this lady. And I could say, then the lady started asking me questions, you know, so I'm like, okay, you know, but it takes time. As I said, it took this lady 3 years, you know, and I just think it's something you should do in your life. When you do it, it's totally up to you when you feel comfortable to do it.
And what and kind of what amount of exposure,
yes,
I suppose.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of ladies, again, in that age range where they've done really sensual photos wearing a jumper. You don't have to show anything.
No, you could be very creative.
It's the feel of it,
and that the confidence or whatever that is that's coming through from her, whether she's in a jumper or a bikini or whatever or nothing. You know, because you could be naked and be, you know, have horrible photos. I imagine in terms of there's nothing coming through.
No, it has to come from them. Like you, That's the thing about the difference in photographers. There's photographers that, yes, they can take great shots, but it's very clinical.
Yes, yeah.
There's no emotion in it. So I'm more creative in that sort of area of it. And like I said, I take time to know the person before the shoot so that they feel really confident. Yeah. And I'll show them photos on the back of the camera so they can see what I see.
Right then and there.
Yeah, then and there.
Yep.
Nothing's hidden.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there to take the best photo possible.
For them. This is for them at the end of the day.
Yes, to make them feel better.
Yeah.
And I've even had ladies come back to me when they've picked up their orders saying that since that day, I just feel so much better about myself. My relationship with my husband is better. It's like a roll-on effect.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
And one young lady who actually is known in Australia, but again, I'm not going to say, but a beauty queen for Australia, and she had difficulty doing public speaking. And I did quite a few shoots with her for her competitions. Not that they were boudoir, but they're bikinis and all of that sort of thing. So it's along the similar line.
Yeah, yep.
And obviously, you think being a model, you're confident, but like I said, they pick themselves to pieces.
Yeah, I bet.
And after we'd done a fair few shoots, probably 4, she came to me and said, I just did the best speech I've ever done, and I feel so confident, and it's only because I feel so good about myself. And at that point, I was the only one taking photos of her because she was really quite young. And obviously now she's photographed by all sorts of different photographers. But at that time, I was her sole photographer.
Yeah, right.
As she was going through that process of growing up and
so just even though she'd been photographed before, there was something unique in her experience with you. Yes, that gave her something that the others didn't.
Yes.
Yeah. It really sounds like you build a relationship with the women that you photograph.
Yeah. Well, that's everything in life.
It is.
If you have a
It's
relationship with somebody and you get on with them and you trust them. And that's the biggest thing with boudoir is you've got to trust.
Yeah.
And that's why I show them the photos on the back of the camera and stuff, because they need to see I'm doing what they want and what they need.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not taking horrible photos or sneaking or anything. It's all above board. It's all there. I'm doing the best. So, very, very passionate about it and making women feel better about themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. It reminds me of me. I haven't had photos. I think I would like to do that because a few years ago, after I turned 40, I lost a chunk of weight. It's such a cliche. And then I went and did nude modelling for artists because I was like, you know what? It's exactly what you said. They lose weight and they're like, look at me kind of thing. And even though my body had aged and changed and stuff, and that was so empowering. And I remember the first time I did that, even though I was very anxious, I left like high as a kite just on that experience. And then, you know, it just built, it just grew and grew. Unfortunately, I've regained some of that weight, but I look back at that time and kind of go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, but B, I'm so glad I did that.
Yes.
And I know that that's within me to do that.
Yes.
And that's a very powerful, it is. Yeah. It's,
because it's scary.
It's really scary to expose yourself. But I think it's such a unique way though, I think for women to take back, you know, being looked at and being under the lens of say society or men or whatever, when you choose to be photographed or drawn or whatever is kind of, as opposed to people looking at you on the street or something like that. It's kind of completely reversing it and saying
you're taking control.
You're taking control. That's exactly it. Do you find that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the word empowerment is perfect.
Yep.
It does. It empowers them to take control of their lives again. You know, and other women, you know, they've got changing in careers and things like that. And
for sure.
I don't know, they're going down a whole different path, and by doing this, it just gives them that confidence, you know, to go, I can do that. If I can do that, I can do this.
That's it.
So, in awe of a lot of women actually. Yeah. That overcome such obstacles.
Do you what would be like the oldest like woman that
80.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh man, I want to meet her. She sounds amazing.
She's a theatre lady.
Right.
Oh my gosh, we had some laughs. Beautiful lady. Oh, beautiful lady. And she loved it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and she'd never done anything like that before.
No,
even in her sort of career.
She'd had lots of photos, obviously, because she's theatre.
Sure.
So,
but not
not boudoir. Yeah. And you know, she was, you know, we had some beautiful satin fabric and draped, and you know, she just went with the whole thing. It was just adorable. Yeah. Just adorable.
It reminds me of that. What was that? That's that movie, The Full Monty. And with the nude men, but then was it from that then women were like doing calendars, groups of women, just average looking women. Yes. Oh, it was in The Full Monty. Was it, or was it another movie? And a
calendar girl type thing.
Yeah, but they were just, you know, raising money for something.
Yes.
But just how refreshing it is, honestly, to see real women and real women's bodies that aren't perfect and a size 6 and 6 foot tall and. I don't think we see enough of that still, even though that's changing. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. The more we see that, because I know for me, if all I'm seeing is a certain type of body shape, then even though I'm conscious of it, it still sort of gets in there, and I find myself comparing myself. I kind of. Whereas if I'm surrounded more by bodies that look more like me or bigger, I feel better. But then I'm still kind of a bit dependent on the outside rather than an internal sense of I'm gorgeous as I am kind of thing. Yeah.
I think as we get older, we just generally become more confident in ourselves.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
And if we could tell ourselves at 20, you know, where we were. I know I was picking myself to pieces at 20.
Yeah.
And I look back at the photos and, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
And, you know, when I'm 80, like this lady, I'll be looking back now and going, oh man, what was I complaining about?
Yeah.
So
it's all relative. It's
all
perspective,
relative.
really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how hard it is, I think, to have a good perspective.
But you're right. It's just, you see things all the time. You think, oh, I should be that and this, that, and the other. But no, you should be you.
Yeah.
And of course, I believe in a healthy lifestyle and trying to be the best you can be. I don't disagree with that. But we are given what we're given.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
we need to accept, okay, I'm never going to be 6 foot and a catwalk model. This is what I had to accept when I was younger.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I can't do catwalk. I'm too short.
Oh, wow. Yeah, of course.
So all I ever wished for was to stretch my legs. Someone stretch my legs, But then, it's like, okay, that's not me. Yep. So close that book and open my book. What am I? What can I do? What can I achieve? It's not about being that other person. Be yourself.
What's that quote? Like, be yourself, everyone else is taken. That's
yes.
it. And I really love that, because I think we so easily forget that, especially women. Yes. I think there's still so much comparison that we do.
Oh, look what we go through.
It's torturous. And sort of through I agree it gets better as you get older. But I think there's still this tendency, I don't know, for women to keep comparing and keep judging and themselves. We're our own worst enemies.
Yes.
And between women, I think there's always this subtle competition, whether that's looks or it's some other mothering, or there's it's like school all over again.
We should build each other up.
We should.
And
absolutely.
You hear it all the time. And yes, I'm a great advocate for that. We need to build each other up, not pull each other down. We're all different. We're all in different bodies.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is what we've got.
That's it. Yeah.
Do what you will with it, but your body is brilliant for you.
Yeah.
And it does everything you want it to do. So treat it kindly.
Is amazing. Yeah.
And why not have a photo of it?
Yeah.
No one needs to see it.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. It can only ever just be for them if that's what they want.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually had a male come for a photo of himself.
Yeah.
Quite a few years back now, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I said to him, and it was nude, and I said to him, so what is this for? Because I have strict rules. So what is this for?
Yeah.
Is there any dodgy business here? So no, not at all. And he was so self-aware that he wasn't, his body was not what he wanted, and all of that. And I took the photos for him, and he was a lovely, lovely person. And when he came to pick up the images, I said, so are you going to show your wife? And he's like, no, they're just for me to get my confidence.
Wow.
And I was like, unfortunately, I had not got that before the shoot.
Otherwise you could have.
Yes, but he didn't open up that much in telling me.
Yeah.
But, I got to know in the end, that literally it was just for him to go, this is my body. And he was going off to do different sort of, what do you call it? Like mediation. Not mediation. What do you call it?
Meditation?
Yes, thank
you. Meditation. I get those words do me in as well.
Mediation.
Especially when they're written, I'm like, is that meditation or mediation?
Oh, dear. So he obviously had some mental issues as such. Yeah. Don't we all?
Yes.
So
yes, we do.
Can't say the right words. But yes, so self-help.
Yeah.
And I think it is.
Oh, self-help.
Yeah.
This totally falls under the category of self-help, come to think of it, isn't it? It's just a different way. And using the body, it's interesting. When I was doing more therapeutic work with clients, I know that and I still am a very strong believer in like talk therapy. But as I've kind of progressed in my career and now I'm kind of off doing different things, I think it's as important to include the body.
Yes.
But whether that's body therapies or even something like this, because I'm thinking this could be really powerful and effective, particularly for women, I'm wondering, who've got, significant body image issues or a history of, say, eating disorders and a really kind of messed up approach to their body, for them to get to a point to be willing to, I'm going to get some photos done of myself, even if it's fully clothed, but like proper photos, not just take a few selfies or someone took a photo of me at a party kind of thing. Like how radically healing that could be. Have you seen that? Have you experienced that with any?
Yes. Like I said, I've had ladies cry when they've seen their photos in joy.
Oh, yeah.
Not in horror.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I've had husbands call me and go, this was the best.
Makes me want to cry. That's
beautiful. The best thing she's done. I'm glad that I did this for her. Like he's paid for her to do it.
Yeah.
And I've had a few of those actually.
Wow.
I have one coming up next week.
Oh,
which
really?
I'm really excited about. So he sounds so wonderful to his wife. I'm just like, oh, this is magic.
Yeah. Do the husbands ever come in? Or is it?
No. That they may
probably a good thing.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing. When I send out information or tips, you know, I don't say they can't.
Yeah.
But I just explain that to let go and to be really, truly you without other eyes on you other than professional. I think it stifles them a little bit if that was to happen.
That makes sense.
Has happened.
Yeah.
And, but only a couple of times.
Because it's interesting. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the way we're subtly different with different people in our lives, and sometimes we can be very different. Like if you're at work, you probably act differently than how you are at home and how you relate and stuff like that. So that kind of reminds me of that. Even though you might be super comfortable with your partner, might have been with them 20 years or something, it still alters something somehow on some level, or there's a performance aspect or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, versus purely being there on your own with your little photography team kind of thing, and seeing what kind of emerges just from that space.
Yes.
Without these external, no matter how loving, it's something, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And also, again, it brings it back down that it's all about them.
Yes. Rather than, would this pose make my husband
happy?
Yes. This is like, what do I want?
Yes.
Even if it's sitting here with my legs closed and holding some knitting needles.
Yes.
I think this is sexy. You know, like, good, whatever works for her.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's why I always say, you know, you've got to bring your personality into it, you know, and some people are sultry and some people are really giggly and whatever that is, it's you.
Yeah. Do some women come in and want something, I guess, completely, well, I wonder if that happens a lot, completely different to how they normally present, or if their personality is kind of giggly, do they sometimes go, I want something really serious and sultry, like you were saying, or do they more kind of want something that reflects?
I think we always start off with who they who they are initially.
Yes. Yeah.
And as the session goes on, they can change outfits. So when we go through a photo shoot, they start off with who they are.
Yes.
So whether they're giggly or sultry or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll have different outfits that they'll bring. 2 or 3 different outfits.
Like their favourite kind of outfits.
Yes.
Or something.
So there may be more of a darker outfit, maybe where we can push the boundaries of taking a giggly person to more sultry. I always make sure I cover everything that they want. But as the session goes on, I like to push a little bit to see what else they have within themselves. And then at the very end, I always shoot something that's completely out of their sort of box, I suppose. Like, like nothing terrible. Like, don't get me wrong, nothing terrible, but just, you know, push that boundary so that when and it's always that shot. Yeah, I can guarantee it's always that shot that when they see the images, they go, "Oh wow! I never thought I could look like that." You know?
I bet they're glad then. That
they
are.
Pushed
they are a little bit.
Yeah, but obviously, I always make sure they're comfortable, and I never do anything they don't want to do ever. Because it's all about them being comfortable and it's the journey that they're on. But just giving them the confidence to... So I just, you know, say, oh, what about this or what about that? Would you like this idea? And they can say yes or no. Sure. So if they say yes, I say, okay, well, let's try this then. So I never put it on them. Yeah. I give them the ideas, and then if they seem that they're happy to go with it, we'll go with it. Yeah. And always when they see the images afterwards, they always like that last little section of the shoot.
Yeah. What the words that sprang to mind just then as you were talking, it's like the layers coming off. So
Yes.
like physically, but also symbolically.
Yes.
And then she's more willing to experiment and get out of her comfort zone kind of
Yes.
thing, and then show more of herself. And I think this is the the paradox or something for women of showing themselves. Like, I think it can be very difficult. Like, we're seen a lot. I think that's still, we're kind of, like I was saying before, kind of under the lens of society and men and women as well, without us necessarily wanting that to be the case. But when we empower ourselves and go, no, I want to be seen, but this is how I want to be seen, or this is the parts of me, because that exposure, I think, is scary, that being that vulnerable. And I imagine being, you know, in front of a camera intentionally, taking some of the layers off.
Yes.
Whoa. I mean, big stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Really
what
big.
it reminds me of.
But
It's
that's
kind of-
why it's, you know, it's a bucket list thing.
Yes.
It really is, because
Yeah.
it's not really about the photos. I mean, it is when you see them afterwards, but it's the journey.
Yes. That's,
And what the photos represent.
Mm.
And, you know, and also for me anyway, I've always been a person that's been, you know, this needs to be affordable. This is another section of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people think, oh, I can't afford that. You know?
Yeah, sure.
But you can.
Yeah.
It's not out of the ballpark. It's within.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to do that for people.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that reminds me of, you know, it's like an investment in yourself. And I think
Yes.
often we can kind of balk at the cost of certain things. Whether it's, you know, that comes up when people come into therapy. They're like, oh, that's going to cost a lot.
Yes.
Yes, it can cost a lot. There are ways you can reduce the cost, blah, blah, blah. But the point is about actually valuing yourself.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it's way beyond money, you know,
Yes.
and this is something, I mean, with photos, you'll have them forever.
Yes.
It's the same if you do good, you know, therapy or self-help or whatever. Hopefully that stays with you forever. You
Yes.
know, this is not this, and that's why it does cost money, and it should as
Yes.
well. You know, plus that's your expertise and the studio and stuff like that. But like you were saying, not everyone can take a good photo, really. That there's a skill and an art to that.
Yes, indeed.
But that woman investing in herself and what she values of herself, especially if she's been caregiving for years, raising kids, doing the home stuff, what about her?
Yes.
But I think it's so hard for women to justify that. Oh, I can't.
Oh, I can't spend that on myself.
It's like,
I don't
what?
know. Yeah. Well, you know, just save up here and there.
That's it.
That's all you got to do. And
I think you'll find the money if, and I say that from experience. There's been tough times in my life where having a lot of money.
Yeah, same.
We've all been there.
yeah,
But somehow you find the money with things that are
really important. And
That's
we
it.
are, and that's the whole thing, is
That's
that
it.
we are important.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, look, like I was saying before, you know, we've been through so much, the kids and the wife and looking after the house and cleaning and everything for us has been, you know, put aside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, not anymore. You know?
You need to step up. And
Yeah.
it sounds like for the women who still partnered, their husbands get so much joy from that. I guess to see her going, and no, wait a second, because what they say, happy wife, happy life. I actually think that's quite true.
Yeah.
Shh, you know, just on the side, because we are central. You know, we run society without really running society, and that's our homes. It starts fundamentally with ourselves.
Yes.
And if you're very unhappy with yourself, everyone's going to know
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying about the ripple effect.
Yes.
You
Yep.
know, and also thinking about our kids. If we don't take care of ourselves and value ourselves and are confident within ourselves, what are we saying to our daughters?
That's it. That's very
You know?
powerful stuff. We're role models, whether we want to be or not.
We are.
Yeah, and it's disturbing and upsetting, I think, to hear women, you know, or it's very confronting for women, I think, when they become parents, particularly, and they have daughters, and then suddenly they notice when I'm standing in front of the mirror going, oh, that looks bad, and your little girl is there like, I don't have a daughter, so I haven't had that. But even for my son, you know, he's got girls who are friends, and maybe one day he will have a female partner. I don't know, you know, like what messages are we sending the younger generation?
And you're right, even with sons, you know, they need to find a partner one day that that's confident and is going to live life alongside side by side.
Yeah.
Not someone he's going to have to keep propping up.
That's it. Nobody wants that.
Nobody
in
wants that
a relationship.
If that might be harsh, but
yeah,
nobody wants that.
No.
You want a partner that you can live life with. Life is for living.
Yes.
Life is really short.
Yeah.
And life is for living.
Yeah.
And you've got to just take that and go. So it's really important, like you're saying, for girls and boys, not to hear their mums pulling themselves to pieces.
Yeah.
There's another side of it too, actually. I do a lot of bridal boudoir.
Oh, awesome. I'm getting married next year. Maybe I should come on.
So it's, and this is awesome. So
yeah.
Apparently, well, you give a gift to your husband on your wedding day and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So a lot of, and this is a big part of my boudoir, a lot of women will come in and have a wedding boudoir done with their veil.
Oh, wow.
And
just the veil?
And their underwear.
Oh,
yes.
That's so cool.
And their sexy shoes and all of that. So they'll have like a little, I've got this package where they have like a little book for their husband, like a little private little book.
as a surprise kind of thing.
As a surprise. So he opens it on the wedding morning.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, he can't wait to get married.
It's like, let's get to bed now.
Yes. Oh, how long is it going to take?
I've never heard of that.
Yes.
What a great idea.
But also if people have run out of time or they would prefer, actually on their wedding day, if they time it right, I can come to the hotel within reason, obviously not down to Margaret River, but to the hotel and spend an hour in the preparation.
Yep.
Taking shots.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because normally they're in a beautiful hotel setting.
Yep.
In the room, of course.
Yeah.
And we can get some really nice shots. Within, but it's got to be timed so that they have that gap.
Yeah, of course.
But that's happened a few times as well. So
that's a great idea,
and it's a great gift to the husband.
Aww. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I bet they love that. I can't imagine seeing the looks on their faces. You would hope there's a photographer at that end taking the
photo when they open. Yeah, yeah. So it's a nice little gift. Yeah.
So there's so many opportunities, I suppose, or reasons, to go and do that for yourself. To get the photos.
And even I'm just trying to think of other areas of. I've got a section that says 40 and beyond, and more voluptuous women.
Yes. What's that like?
They are so sexy. So sexy.
The curves and boobs.
Oh, they've got the curves for lighting for me.
Really?
For lighting, it's like a landscape.
Oh, how beautiful.
Like just like if they're to lay on their side and their hip, and it's just if it's lit beautifully, it looks amazing.
Wow. And how great that would be for them if they've really struggled.
But I find that the larger women, more voluptuous women, are way more confident than the skinny women.
Really?
Apart from the younger ones, I'm not talking about the younger ones.
Sure.
But the older, sort of, I don't know, 30 up.
Yeah.
30, I mean, still young, but 30 up.
Why do you have any theories on why that is?
I don't know. I think society's just got to them. I don't know. But the more voluptuous women, I don't know. They're happy with their lives. Maybe they've got really supportive partners. Yeah, I don't know. But pretty much all of the ones. In fact, all of the ones that I've come across, and some have been, like fairly large women.
Yeah.
But my God, they're beautiful.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
That's so good to hear.
And like their skin is amazing.
Well, when you have more fat, see, I've got some
plump.
more fat here. It does. Yeah. And I actually look older when I'm thinner. I know that for myself. And I'm like, this sucks. Because you're like, but that's, when you see women getting fillers, they're injecting fat back into their face. I'm like, that's so ironic. Yes, exactly.
And who doesn't love youth?
Oh, no. Well, we're very focused on that as a society still, That's really intriguing, that those women... I wonder too if they're kind of at a point of realising that there's so much more to their lives than their damn body and their body size, and they might have battled with that for many years. I'm just kind of theorising, and then they've gone, oh, look, come on, really? And see that they're more than their bodies. Like, bodies are a big part of being human, obviously, but there's so much.
But that's what I mean
more.
about accepting. Accept yourself. You can't change certain things.
That's it.
You can change some things, but you can't change everything.
No.
And you just need to go, okay, this is me. This is what I've been given. This is, I just need to do this to make it a little bit more or healthier, being healthier, mentally healthy.
Yeah.
And eating well is far more important than what you look like.
And feeling good. I know the times when I'm eating crap or trying to diet excessively or something, and my energy is so low, especially coming into your 40s of, your whole, hormones and things shift and change. And then focusing more on feeling good and having energy so you can get out there and live your life rather than how I look, because that can be completely different things, how you feel and how you look.
Yes.
But
that brings us circle to making ourselves when we, on the days that we don't feel good about ourselves, putting our best dress on or top on, maybe curl our hair a little bit or straighten it or whatever, put a little different lipstick on. Best perfume. I mean, why use the perfume just for special?
I know. I forget
out.
that, actually. Like, that's a good point.
Wear it every day.
Yeah, because you never know.
Yeah. And wear your best underwear every day.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's a great feeling.
My grandma was a brilliant lady, beautiful lady, very classic. Yeah. And she always said to me, my granny used to call me Katie, Katie, whatever you do, wear best underwear every day. Make sure it's matching. Okay. She's like, you never know what happens. She says, always make sure it's matching.
I've always wanted to have the whole matching set, but I never do. I just don't know why.
I don't know what she meant. But
it's like this fantasy I have. Like, that to me would be the pinnacle. No, it's not the pinnacle of my life, but there'd be something very wonderful in that.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what she meant by it, because I was quite young at the time, so I'm not quite sure what she meant. But I have to say that it is embedded in me. And I feel really good putting on my underwear. Yeah. And I go through my drawer and I'm like, I'm going to wear pink, or I'm going to wear blue, or I'm going to wear green, or whatever. Yeah. And it's literally like we're saying about wearing what makes us feel good. Yeah. Even down to our underwear. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel great when you've got like holes in your knickers? No. You don't. You don't.
Even the wardrobe. I read something recently in a book, and it was a bit about decluttering and stuff, but they were talking about wardrobes. And I think I'm reasonably on top of my wardrobe, but this book was saying if there's items in your wardrobe that you look at and you're like, I wish I could fit into that, or one day that's going to suit me, just get in there and chuck that out. Yes. Because every moment you look at that is kind of bringing you down.
Negative,
and I have to say that word. I just hoik them out. I'm like, okay, Mel, just deal with it. You're not going to fit into whatever. And now I'm like, everything here I can wear and I feel okay with. I'm like, God, that was easy and powerful.
Yes.
Just these little things.
And do you have certain clothes? And again, you can bring your favourite dress or top or whatever to the shoots, or jumpers. Like, jumpers are great.
Oversized jumper?
Yeah, but I remember my son saying to me, Mum, you look really good in shirts.
Oh.
I've got every colour.
Oh, of course you do.
Because he said that. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
No, because he said that. So I'm like, I went out and I got more shirts.
Gee. Isn't that interesting of him to notice that and to bring that to your attention?
Yeah.
How lovely.
Yeah, I don't know if it's covering up my neck or I don't care what the reason is, but I did it. Yeah. And I feel good in shirts. So it's just like it doesn't.
And that's the easy thing to do. It's not.
No.
I mean, you've got to go buy them, of course, but.
But how great is that when you're going through transitions, you get rid of the old stuff that's the negative sort of outlook on what's gone. Yeah. And you transform into your future you. Yeah. And you're like, oh, wow, this is great. Yeah. I feel really comfortable in this. I'm going to get more. I'm going to get a couple of colours. Yeah. Which makes so much sense. And don't bother about the stuff that doesn't fit or suit anymore, because you're evolving.
That's a good point we'll end on. Actually, we have to end in a
do we?
In a minute. I was talking for an hour. But I'd never thought of it that way, of evolving, and we do evolve. I think it's easy in our society to think, I'm de-evolving or I'm getting older and this and this and this, rather than think, no, I'm a work in progress.
Yes.
And I'm evolving.
And how wise are we?
Yeah. But yes, there's got to be something good in. But aging is a blessing, you know. It really is. I think that's lost unless you consciously remember that, especially if you've had experiences in your life which has reminded you of your mortality and that it could be gone.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Every day I have to say, you know, because like I was saying before, you know, you can have bad days or you can have a bit of an argument or whatever, and you feel crappy and you go to bed and I guarantee every single morning I wake up with my cup of tea and I say to myself, obviously not out loud because that is a bit weird, but in my head I'm like, okay, today's a new day.
Wow.
Every day.
It's a new opportunity every day.
Exactly. You know, and what's gone is gone.
Yeah.
You
never get that back.
No. Some things are hard to let go of course, but look at the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And get some photos done to remind you of how awesome and beautiful you are.
That would be good.
Thank you so much, Kate.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No worries. You've been listening to The Hidden World of Women, the podcast brought to you by Women's Health and Wellbeing Services. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube by looking up Women's Health and Wellbeing Services. You can also find us at our website www.whws.org.au. Bye.